John, another question that I get is, does a suppressor make your gun more accurate or less accurate?
I'm going to say overall they make a gun slightly more accurate. Now, we've talked about this some before. You're not going to take an inaccurate rifle and make it accurate by putting a suppressor on. But by adding weight to the gun, no matter how much it is, that makes the gun easier to shoot and technically more accurate just because it moves less. Another thing it is it will scrub the gases off as the bullet exits the muzzle and cause less disturbance, especially to like something like a long boat tail hollow point as it exits the muzzle and travels. So it's kind of both directions.
The only time I think it would be inaccurate is if you had a bad thread job. Some guys, backyard gunsmiths, you know what I mean? I've seen it to where the threads aren't lined up perfectly. And then even though your bullet may be clearing the suppressor, then you've got issues with accuracy. So you might want to make sure that you take it to a qualified gunsmith, somebody that knows what they're doing, or, a lot of factory guns come threaded now.
Yeah, and that's handier. And like what you're saying, I actually have had baffle strikes because a suppressor came loose. And so then it was actually moving. So like with a direct thread suppressor like what we're using here, you want to make sure that you torque it on with about 30 pounds of torque. With a brake attach, you want to make sure that the direct thread brake is torqued on the same way, and you want to make sure that the suppressor's on tight. There were some older suppressor designs that were designed to be QD, and they weren't super stable right there, and those would negatively affect accuracy too. Not necessarily with baffle strikes, but just with some vibration and variations going on there. But I have hit the baffles, and the bullets will go sideways in a target at 10 yards.
Gotcha. So you just want to make sure it's screwed on tight. But in general, it's certainly not going to degrade accuracy, but if anything, it'll usually make your firearm more accurate.
Absolutely.